time again for that Florida Treasure Coast market update. Stick with me.
You better get fired up.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, man. Hope you're having a great week. Today, we're going to go over some stats that we as a team go over every Monday in our sales meeting, and it shows us what the Port St. Lucie market's doing. There's some stats that I tend to share on this show maybe every 4 to 6 weeks, and I think they're probably the best indicators, at least they are for me, of what the market's truly doing, right? It gets all the news media outlets out of your head, and it truly looks at actual data so you can make an assumption about the market yourself, right? Through educated data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and let's see if I can figure out the technology here. I'm going to share my screen and show you the stats that we pull. Okay, so you should be able, let me just check. Yeah. So you should be able to see everything that I've got up right now. And so you'll see if you look on the left here, we've got 4 columns, or not columns, I guess the rows that I want you to focus on, right? We've got active, and then it splits it into 2 categories, up to $500,000 and $500,000 plus. And then what is the median asking price, right? And again, this is all Port St. Lucie single family homes. So you can see at the beginning of the year, we had 1,388 active listings on the market, and now we're up to 1,638. That's an 18% increase. So we've had quite a few listings coming on the market. If I look at that stat and that stat alone, which a lot of the news media outlets do, you're going to think, ooh, inventory is going up. That must mean a softening of the market. It's a better market for buyers, a worse market for sellers, okay? Stick with me. You can already see where this is going to go, but stick with me. So when we look at actives up to $500,000, so these are the more affordable homes, you can see, just looking at the right over here, that there is a 24% jump in that first-time homebuyer price point, but the 500,000 plus has had an 11% jump. So there's a lot more homes in that up to $500,000 price point hitting the market than there are at the 500,000 plus. That's important to know depending upon what price point you're in. Now, if you were to list a home with me, we're actually going to get really in depth with your specific home, right? I mean, 500,000 plus, you could have an $800,000 home. You could have a $525,000 home. Those are 2 different markets. Also, what area are you in? What time frame are we in? All those different things are very important to take into consideration when we are looking at the likelihood and length of time that it's going to take to sell your home, right? So coming down here to this 4th row, we've got the median asking price. This is what people are asking, not what they're getting. And you can see we're at 470, 475, 474, 474, 470, 469, 469. It has been almost flat since the beginning of the year, what people are asking, right? In fact, there's been a 0.2% reduction, so virtually nothing. Now, the next 4 lines tell us about solds. This is way better data, in my opinion, because people can ask anything they want, but what is actually selling and what is it selling for? So I look at a 45-day running tally, and you can see that on January 1st, the last 45 days it had 442 sales. We did have a really weird February, but then it kind of started creeping back up, right? 524, 568. Then it came down a little bit, and now we're at 595. So we are seeing 34 additional sales for every 100 sales now than we were back in January, right? And again, that's not a depiction of what's going on right now. It's a depiction of what's been going on for the last 45 days. So that January pull is basically Thanksgiving to Christmas. It's probably going to be a little bit more challenging time to sell homes because not as many people are out and about unless they absolutely need a house, right? So you can see that the sales numbers are increasing, which is great. That helps sellers. So up to 500,000 plus, the sales have actually gone up 41%, a jump from 344 to 485 in a rolling 45-day period. That's a lot. Whereas the 500,000 plus has been a little bit steadier, although it has increased 19% here. We were at 98 sales per 45-day period. Now we're at 116. And you can see for every single period here, with the exception of these first 2 weeks, it's been over 100. Now, I do want to show you, once we hit the beginning of a month, I get rid of the weeks. So this column right here is January, February, March, April. And then you've got by week for April, because we haven't closed out April yet, right? So next week, when I do the first Monday of May, I will close out these 4 columns right here so you can only see the first Monday in April, right? But I just want you to realize that for all my data nerds out there. So median sales price. This to me is the most interesting row because I want to see what sales prices are actually doing. So you can see we're at 420, came down to 415. I'm telling you from experience, and you'll see it a little bit here in the data, those are not monstrous jumps. Those aren't big enough jumps up or down to make me think the market's moving up or down, right? I need to see it consistently. I need to see it for probably 2 months or more, and it needs to be big enough to where I actually buy into it. So, and you can see, boom, next month came right back up to 420. Then it came way down to 404, back up a little bit to 4055, back up to 410, 410, and now we're back up to 417. So we're seeing a swing up in sold prices. So if anybody's telling you the market's softening, it's getting cooler, the prices aren't there, they're absolutely wrong, right? I'm starting to hear people say, buyers say, I should be able to get a deal right now because the market's softening. What market? I'm not seeing that market. That market is not matching this data right here. Maybe in some other market I don't track, but not in this market, man. I know the Port St. Lucie market, and I know it through the data. So it's just good information to know, right? Buyers are going to hear this and think, meh, I don't like this Joe Rosen cat. And I get it. Sellers are going to hear this and think, man, Joe's the greatest guy ever. I don't care what you think. I just want to make sure you're educated, right? So inventory. What is inventory? Inventory is saying if we look at the current amount of listings that we got on the market, 1638, and we sell at the pace we've been selling over 45 days, which is 595 homes per 45 days, how long would it take to sell out of all those listings if we didn't take any new listings on the market? And the answer for the totality of the Port St. Lucie single family home market is 124 days. Excuse me. So you're looking at just a hair over 4 months. Pretty neutral, right? That's a pretty neutral market. You can see the 500,000 plus is up to 232. But that first time home buyer price point, and 500 might even be a little bit high for first time home buyer, but you can see that is at 97 days. That's a good, strong seller's market right now. Not concerned about my sellers at all with those numbers. And they've come down, right? 110, 167, 136, 108, 103, 108, 104, and now we're down to 97.2. So this is the strongest that lower price point market has been all year long. So we're seeing great things for sellers. So anyway, guys, there you go. There is the market update on what's going on in Port St. Lucie right now. You heard it here, man. This is data driven. It's not emotion driven. It's not Joe's little sales bubble of what he's doing. It is literally the entirety of the Port St. Lucie MLS market, right? You're seeing it all. So any questions, any comments or anything like that, please throw it in the comments. I will always respond to those, even if it's after the video's over. And as always, I appreciate you guys joining me. Thanks, and have a great week.